If it's your job to hang out with dead people, chances are you're going to see some pretty crazy stuff from time to time. Welcome to Trending 10, and today we've compiled the 10 most terrifying stories from funeral workers that we could find. Number 10. Glass eyes are not that uncommon to have, but they're usually not something that you see shown off like a badge of honor. Well, one woman was very proud of her glass eye, and when she died, she wanted it on full display at her funeral, with the eyelid being held open so everyone could see it. Well, someone forgot to tell one of the workers this, and when the director's assistant opened up the casket, there was the body, one eye closed and the other eye wide open, staring right back at her. Number 9. A funeral worker was preparing a woman for her funeral the next day, and let's just say this corpse was a little bigger than others. Well, to put it nicely, she sprung a leak. Many leaks. In order to keep her presentable at her funeral, the worker had to wrap her body in plastic bags underneath her clothes before putting her in her coffin. That must have been an uncomfortable experience. Number 8. If you're a medical technician, you're used to seeing dead bodies, as part of the job is shaving corpses to prepare them for tissue recovery and organ donation. Well, one day a doctor was just doing his job when he lifted the hand of a donor to keep the arm steady for shaving. It was then that he felt the fingers of the hand begin to curl around his own. Perhaps the donor just wanted to hold somebody's hand for the last time. Number 7. Clowns are already pretty creepy on their own, but how about a dead clown? How about a dead clown surrounded by living clowns? Well, yes, that actually happened. One man truly loved his job as a clown so much he wanted to be buried in full makeup and costume. Then, all of the family and friends who attended the funeral had a single teardrop painted on their cheeks, and the funeral workers were all required to dress up in full clown attire while working the event. Talk about a creepy, or maybe even heartfelt ceremony. Number 6. Now, many people love dogs, but a very unfortunate part of canines is just how short they live in comparison to humans. Well, one day, a funeral home worker was sent to retrieve some records from a client's attic, and while she was there, she encountered a baby-sized coffin. She nudged it out of the way, expecting it to be empty, but it opened to reveal the client's deceased canine. She immediately ran downstairs to ask the funeral director about it and learned that the client loved their dog so much that they wouldn't take different lifespans as an excuse for not being buried together. So they had their dog prepared for burial early so that way, whenever the owner died, they could be buried together. A sweet gesture to be sure, but definitely something the worker probably wished she knew beforehand. Number 5. It's very common for deceased bodies to still have air in their lungs, meaning it's also very common for these bodies to let out vocal noises when the air is released in one way or another. Now, take a moment to think about all of the funeral workers who have had to sit and listen to the groans and cries of the dead. Now take a moment to think about how grateful you are that your job doesn't require you to listen to that. Number 4. It can be hard losing a sibling. Well, there is a story that tells of a young boy who passed away. And at his funeral, his twin brother dressed exactly the same way as the boy in the casket. Unfortunately, not everyone knew that the deceased boy had a twin, and this caused quite a bit of panic to those who went to pay their respects and then turned around to see the boy walking around the chapel. Number 3. No amount of experience could ever prepare you for a reanimated corpse. One night, a worker with at least 15 years of experience in the business was preparing a body for a funeral the next morning, and when he turned away to grab his tools, from the corner of his eye he saw the corpse start to sit up on the table. In response, he did the only appropriate thing you can do in that situation: run like hell. Number 2. Again, sometimes experience doesn't prepare you for just everything, especially if you work with bodies for a living. This worker was, once again, working late at night, where she was preparing a body for a funeral, and when she turned the corpse over, it inexplicably shivered. Sure, there's probably some medical explanation for the shuddering, but in the moment, it was more than enough to make this doctor run for it. And finally, in our number 1 spot, finishing up our list is a phenomenon that is actually quite common in funeral homes, which makes it all the more disturbing. There are countless reports of funeral home workers noticing the lights flickering on and off whenever a new body is brought in, and one specific story is quite haunting. It was late at night in a chapel. The man was alone with the body, simply closing everything up and preparing to go home for the evening. He turned off the lights and then went to check the casket one last time, but when he got to the body, the lights mysteriously turned back on. There was no one else in the chapel with him, and the light switch was nowhere near the casket. Was there an intruder in the chapel that night, or did the body simply think it was getting too dark? But alright, there we go guys, that's it for our list of 10 terrifying things funeral workers have witnessed in their line of work. Got any other crazy stories of your own? Be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe for more great content. But alright, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching Trending 10, your guide to what's viral right now. We'll see you all in the next one.